Ladies and gentlemen, I want to officially welcome you guys to today's edition of Common Sense with Freddie. In fact, it's the May edition 2021. It's a great privilege to always host this meeting and to ensure that it comes up. I want to especially thank my team for always making this happen. The ZIT Worldwide team, phenomenal team. It's interesting to know that they're all in Nigeria and they make this possible every single month. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Shewu and others. And to my partners, phenomenal team too. I can't thank them. One of them is here with me today. Aside being a partner, he's also a coach, a career coach. So you guys are going to meet him too. So this is ZIT Worldwide monthly webinar, and ZIT Worldwide organizes this every single month. It's a virtual coaching platform. Some of you that do not know about ZIT, it's a virtual coaching platform aimed at helping its client, mentees to optimize their outcome in any aspect. Any aspect. So on the platform, we do have several coaches that take care of several subjects that you might need some support. There are some client that wants support in respect to Canada admission or immigration transition. Cool. We have coaches on the platform that can. We have several programs currently running on ZIT's platform to help individuals optimize their outcome and goals. Like we have live sessions, live group sessions twice every month. We are working towards making it every single week, twice right now. That's bi-weekly. We actually had one yesterday. It was quite interesting, and we call it ZIT Family Meeting. It's always very intimate. We keep it real. It's always very, very, very relatable. People share their life stories and then we learn from each other. It's always very intimate. And for those of you that are part of the family, you can attest to that. We also have a program called One-on-One. This particular program is geared towards working with you on a one-on-one basis. Some people might not want to share their story in the group or might not want to share their concerns in the group. So we have a one-on-one basis program where we can work with you on a one-on-one basis over a period of time to help you optimize your goals. We also have faculties. Faculty is where some of our partners and coaches, they create their content. Like I have some content that I create to help individuals. Sometimes when I have a one-on-one, I do share those contents on a one-on-one basis to better prepare you or align you. Sometimes it helps you to unlearn, relearn, and then sometimes learn something new to better allow you face the reality of life and also follow the path to getting your results met or your goals met. So we have some of those contents. Sometimes I speak about social intelligence a lot. I talk about emotional intelligence, the power of the mind. So you're going to be seeing those in my faculty. We have Professor Tunde here. He has his area of specialty. He has his area of focus with respect to career. We're definitely going to go to his faculty too and see. So a lot is coming up on ZIT platform, and it's geared towards making everybody, have some sense of awareness where you're going to. After acquiring your MBA, your master's, your PhD, definitely sometimes you are not able to know how to put them together. And your career life is connected to your family life. Your family life is connected to your spiritual life. Your spiritual life is connected to your finances. They are all 360. So sometimes we get overwhelmed. So here we help you to get it together and then understand how to face them. So that's what ZIT is all about. So that was just a quick overview. So today on Common Sense with Freddie, we are definitely going to be speaking about migrating to the diaspora, and we are using the United States as a case study. Before I start, I want you to know that I will be your host and also your facilitator. So permit me to introduce myself. My name is Wilfred Asukwo. To some of you that don't know me, and I'm sure a lot of you do know me already, I'm a Nigerian from Akwa Ibom, some village called Odobo. I'm from Odobo. There's no light in my village as at the time I left. I don't know if they have light there now. Anyway, um, I resident here in the United States. I'm a career professional and a certified John Maxwell coach, a public speaker, and also a trainer. For the last 14 years, Wilfred has been coaching several people to live their life to a full potential using their God-given resources within them. There's an underlying love to impact career-minded, goal-driven, oriented professionals on a daily basis. He has well over 100 of serious-minded professionals he has been coaching and mentoring over the years, which makes reaching out and impacting future generations his unrelenting primary mission on earth. Wilfred completed a bachelor degree at Federal Polytechnic Ado Ekiti in 2003. Well, we call it HND back home, but in the US, when we translate it, it becomes bachelor. He received a Master of Science degree at Sacred Heart University, Fairfield, Connecticut, with several certifications to enhance his career profession as a professional businessman and currently resides in Connecticut with his family. Some of you that may not know, I'm also a trained pilot, American trained pilot, FAA. I have a license in that to also fly plane, but I had to switch my career. With me today is one of our partner and also a coach. I have so much respect for him. I have known him well over 10 years. I learned from him. I always feel honored to talk to him personally on the phone, but working with him as a partner to adding value to people is a great privilege. I have the pleasure. I call him professor, but he doesn't like to be called professor. He doesn't even like you to call him doctor. Dr. Tunde Ogini. He graduated from FUTA in the physics department. He did an advanced diploma at the International Center for Theoretical Physics, ICTP, in Italy, and completed his PhD in physics from Ohio University. Currently works with Mirion Technology as a senior research scientist. You guys must know, he's been working in that company over a decade. So he's not just one scientist you see by the corner. No. He got his permanent residency in the United States through what is called NIW, National Interest Waiver, and has experience with many people that obtain their permanent residency in the US through this similar avenue. That's just one of the things he does in terms of career. So there are other things. There are other things in terms of career space you guys will learn about today from him, but perhaps just this one today. So once again, you can say hi to the house, Dr. Tunde.
Hi, everybody.
Okay.
Hi.
So let's move forward, guys. First thing, I like to always start my presentation with using my life experience as a case study. And just follow me through as I share with you some basic things I want you to know as I share this story. Long before I left my parents, you guys, I like to talk about it. I left my parents before I turned 16, and I went to the city of Lagos in Nigeria to seek for greener pastures. So, and one of the things I found out when I got there was the fact that, okay, these people don't go to farm like we go to farm in the village before we can even buy food to eat. These people, they don't go to the stream and all that, and they're having cars, very comfortable life and all that. So I now said, okay, what are they doing differently? And I found out that a lot of them, they were going to colleges and then get good jobs and then move on. But there was something spectacular that I found out. If they don't get married, they travel out for further studies. So I already planned in my head that I was going for further studies. After I would go to college and graduate, I'll have to go for further studies. So how was that going to be possible? I wasn't getting bothered about it. But first thing first, I have to graduate. Then from college. Then the next thing is traveling out. And that leads me to those of you that do not have a personal mission statement. I already planned my journey and how I'm going to do it way long before I even start. I was refining it as I was going. I was writing them down. Of course, do not write our goals down. And that right there is a problem. So you've got to write your goals. That is what I wanted. I wanted to study in Nigeria. After I graduate, then I want to travel out for further studies. Some of us are just getting up now to wanting to travel out because the country is tough. Our country is facing some challenges here and there. Great, but what knowledge, what resources do you have to make this happen? So when I graduated from Federal Polytechnic at Ekiti, my focus was to travel out. But while I was doing that, I had to be looking for a job in Nigeria. And that also led me to putting this little word of wisdom. A lot of us are focusing to traveling out, not minding the fact that you can actually make some money while you are doing that to be able to sustain and enable you foot the expenses for traveling out. A lot of my mentees or clients that wants to go to the US or come to the North America for scholarship who don't have a job, I package them to get a job. Some are not having a good job. I'll tell them, no, let's see how you can get to a good job. That's the wisdom that is in there. As a matter of fact, you do not use your career resume to apply for academic opportunities. No, there are two different resumes you use. So I will have to package you to getting a job. Sometimes I have to put you on my page and advertise for recruiters or contact one or two recruiters or hiring manager. Do you have a spot or something? That's if you are my one-on-one client. So while you're doing that, I do have a couple of you that are here who are in that category. You secure the job, and then, okay, let's continue with our scholarship pursuit. That is a wisdom that you need to get. So some people just focus on traveling, and that will leave you going about begging to survive. Listen, where I come from in Nigeria, if your parents sponsored you in school, after the sponsorship, that's it. You are on your own. If you can relate with that, let me see your hand. Your parents have sponsored you and you are done. You are your Don't go back and bother them. You need to get a job for yourself. Traveling out is an investment. It's time consuming, guys. So when I eventually got a job with Arik Air, which I don't want to go through that, crazy 3 years of not having a job was not fun. But eventually when I got it, from day one, my head was focused on that, my goal. Fred has to go for further studies. So I was going for masters straight up. I already found out most of the options I was already having. For some of us, we've not found our resources. Now then, social media was just coming up. We had this MySpace, but MySpace was not really doing what Facebook and LinkedIn are doing right now. So the internet space, a lot of Yahoo boys were busy doing their money thing. So me, I would also go there and be looking for the schools I was looking out for. Some of us, we want to dwell on our phones. You cannot see enough on your phone, guys. When you are searching for something, it is not on your phone that you will see. Listen, this should be like emergency. But if you want to do real research, I encourage you to sit on your computer. iPad is still okay. Sit on your computer, sit on your laptop, and make sure you see it very open. So internet was a resource. I did not have to use an agent. I did not have to go out there and start looking for people to pay. First and foremost, I didn't even have the money to pay, but I had to make sure I do it by myself. A lot of you here, if not all of you, you are graduates with master. You still want somebody to help you search for something? Please. What you are going to be doing after college has nothing to do with what they taught you in school. This time around, you're going to apply your knowledge to help navigate your life system. So that is why if you come to Zid on a one-on-one basis, I will echo it again and again. We do not do things for you here. Here is DIY, do it yourself. What we do is we guide. Dr. Tunde is here. He will talk about it himself. We guide you. So the internet was there available. It was still a big deal because it was expensive because we have to go to the cafe. I didn't have a laptop, so I literally have to go to the cafe. But if I don't go to the cafe, the hotel that Arik Air had, pay for us to be lodging if we are having flights or come back late, they had a cafe downstairs. That's all I was doing, searching for schools, searching for the opportunities I was looking for that will enable me get out of the country. But all I sorted, all the information that I was looking for, searching for online, to better harness my, opportunity to leave the country as I had so desire. I had discovered a lot. I discovered a lot. So there's this my very best friend. He's also a partner and a coach on Z platform, Emmanuel Ikpat, engineer Emmanuel Ikpat. He works with oil and gas in Nigeria. We went to college together at Federal Polytechnic Ado-Ekiti. Very close. So some of you that don't have good friends, it's time for you to get one. Not just good, honest one that will tell you, that will look into your eyes and tell you the truth. This guy was not just a friend. He had invested so much in me because he got a job before me. In fact, while I was going for NYC, he was going to London to, start a training to work with the oil and gas. So he did come back. For those 3 years, he was supporting me. So when I now got a job, he told me something. He said, well, this is aviation industry. It doesn't really last. It come and go. So think of what you're going to do differently. One, think of how to keep this job should the company don't liquidate or go out of business, or think of how to get another job should you lose this one. Emmanuel, amazing guy. I'm sure most of you have listened to him on this platform severally. So one of the options we had was, okay, Wilfred, why don't you go for the training as a pilot? I said, so all the searches I was doing before to go for masters in UK or somewhere in North America were thrown out. I had to start searching for pilot and flight school. Again, your friends should align with your vision. Yes, they should. You should have friends that should, their goals align with you. This was, a great friend. After I looked at it, I said, Emmanuel, this course costs so 8 million. He said, Fred, don't worry, we will look for the money. You need such friends in your life. So he ignited that energy. They switched from flight, from grad school to piloting. So we started exploring the opportunity. But to cut a long story short, I made it. I got full scholarship to come to the US to train as a pilot. Yes, fully funded scholarship. The message here is this. Social media was not as effective as it is right now. All we had was the internet. We could access the school, but I didn't really have somebody to talk to me, to tell me what to do and all that. The best I could get, brought me to the US. Guess what? I still entered one chance because I didn't have enough information. So, but the interesting part of today is this. LinkedIn is here. Zit Worldwide is here. There are other platforms, Illumina, Dr. Casey also has a platform. They can give you all the guidance you need. All you need to do is reach out, network, connect with people. Social intelligence, guys, put it at work, grow it, multiply it, use it wisely to better help yourself. Listen, a closed mouth, they say, is a closed destiny. If you don't speak out, you can't know. If you don't ask, you can't get. I can't come and force you to see opportunity. You have to think about it, desire it, then reach out and ask questions. As a Christian, I don't really like to quote scripture, a pastor, but I love my Bible. On my platform, I have other denominations, religious denominations in our platform on Zed. So I barely don't like to sound pastoral, but because I grew up with that, I used to reference it. So there is this scripture that talks about, show me who wishes to build a tower, does not first sit down and count the cost to see if he has the resources to come. Remember I said I had to search and find out which school, how much, duration, living expenses, location of the state. A lot of us just get up. I want to travel. Show me a way now. Show me the way now. Who wants to show you the way? Find out what it costs you first. Show me the way. Who wants to show you the way, guys? The way is on the internet. The way is connecting with people that are already there. Count your costs. Have a clear understanding. For those of you with one-on-one with us at Zed, you know exactly. There are a couple of one-on-one working with Dr. Tunde too. It shows you line by line. We we hold you by hands to show you that one of our services. So who are you talking to? You want to travel out? Who are you talking to? Are you talking to somebody in your current country who hasn't even traveled out, but is trying to tell you they need to travel out? If you check, he or she herself is still struggling to travel out, but he wants you to pay money to him or her to travel out. Guys, where is the common sense? We have a lot of agents. They are still thinking about to travel out too, but yet they want to help you to travel out, and they will ask you to pay them some chunk amount of money. Guys, let's begin to use our brain cells. Let's keep it effective. So, it is expedient that you have a contact person you are talking to in that location you are going. For those of my mentees that want scholarship, yes, they are talking to me, but I also encourage them to establish a relationship with students inside the school, because different locations do have, or different states in the US, they have different laws and different resources that you can harness. Yes, they will make less mistakes because I would have told them the basic things they need to know, but I also make sure that they try to establish a relationship with somebody in that location. So let's say you're coming to the US and you're talking to Wilfred. Oh, you can be. I woke up this morning, I called one of my clients who is in South Africa. He will be leaving for the US. And I said, no, something came up. That's what he paid me for. I called him this morning. We spoke yesterday. I reached out to him and I said, no. You have to do this. You have to do this. This is important. Check out about it and then get back to me. Yes. So now, if you are talking to somebody who is not honest to you, some of us are living in the US. We are living fake life. We are working in one place and we are painting a picture to somebody over there. If you are talking to such a person, at your own risk. You need somebody who is honest, who is straightforward to tell you that's why I said in Zit worldwide. It takes a lot for you to be a coach on Zit. If your level of integrity is questionable, I'm sorry, you can't be on Zit. You will listen to every of our coaches, they keep it real. They use their personal self to talk to you. That's why Zid stands out with that. If you don't have that quality, I bet the team, the partners, the board will not accept you as a coach on Zid. So, who are you talking to in that country you are going to? What is the person explaining to you? What advice are you taking? Does it make sense? Does it add up? If you validate the advice on the internet, does it even out? Some people will not tell you the truth about opportunity because they themselves couldn't harness it. So why would they tell you? Why would they show you the way to do it? For example, I will ask any immigrant to learn driving before relocating to the US. I tell all my mentees, some of them didn't know how to drive. They have gone to learn how to drive now. If you don't learn how to drive before you come to America, the money you will use to learn how to drive here is enough for you to buy a land in Mowe, Ati, in your village. Excuse me, I'm speaking Yoruba here. I'm not supposed to. The money you use to learn driving in America, and then when you're coming here to learn how to drive, sometimes you want to use someone's car to learn how to drive. You might not want to give it to you because of the risk involved. Please, learn in your country before you start coming. If you don't. Now, there is opportunity you can harness when you learn how to drive before you leave Nigeria, for example. Yes, that can help you to adapt and sustain for a while you are here. Very important. That's an example. I'll give another example for free. If you gain a scholarship and you're coming to the US or you're going to any other country and they offer you accommodation to stay in the hostel, let me ask somebody in the house. Anybody in the house can speak to me. They offer you a scholarship to the US and they offer you accommodation in the hostel. Would you take it? Somebody should unmute and speak.
Wilfred.
Yes. Would you take it?
From my own view, I will take it.
Okay. Hold it there. Another person. I need 2 more people to speak. Who is speaking, please?
Hello.
Hello.
This is Patrick.
Okay.
I won't take it.
Okay, why won't you take it?
Because it's the same as paying for my own accommodation.
Okay, that's good. Somebody else. You gain a scholarship in the US and you are offered, your budget that you spend, and they now give you a hostel accommodation. Would you take it? One more answer. Who is that? Yes. Would you take it?
Nah, I think no, I won't. Why? Because one, am I allowed to speak further?
Yes, please go ahead.
One, I won't take it. Why? Because I believe that even while you are at the hostel, your activities will actually be watched and monitored. One. Two, even if you're going there for schooling purpose and it's under a scholarship, I believe you also have opportunity to actually do other things. And I feel like staying in the hostel, you're going to be restricted to a certain extent. That's what I think. I don't know. I'm not in the US.
Okay.
I believe that on my end, going to school also involves me getting a part-time job so I can actually get experience. And I believe to an extent that as a scholarship student, why is Freddie smiling?
I'm smiling because some of those your reasons look so polished and sweet, but it might actually get you into trouble.
True. Yes. But like I said, if I have to actually stay on the campus, I get to determine what I get to spend, how I get to spend it. It helps me be able to determine. It helps me plan. I will leave it that way. It helps me plan and then experience life the way it is. Being the fact that you're a foreigner, a new person in a new environment. That's what I think, basically.
Okay. Every answer is right. Bethel, why did you say yes?
All right. I said yes because if I'm going to a country where I know no one, I think the first place I'm going to be secure is to be in the hostel of the school. When I understand how the environment works, I can now go out and rent an apartment. That is my reason.
Okay, bravo. Those that said no, the no is great. That's the best answer. To the best of my understanding, I've been doing this for a while. So let me give you guys an insight. Please do not stay in the hostel when you win a scholarship. And here are my reasons. So I think Dr. Tunde is here, so he might also throw some light on it if I am saying something out of the order. You see, when you come to stay, when they allocate you a stipend, the money you are going to use to sustain, let's say your budget is $30,000 for a session. So that $30,000 will cover your school fees, will cover your accommodation, and blah, 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 blah. So now, hostel accommodation can be expensive, just so you know, can be relatively expensive. So, and when you choose to stay in the hostel, I'd like you guys to know that you will eat their food. You can't cook. And their food, mashed potato, carrots, name them. There is no pepper in it, and I can guarantee you won't be able to eat them. So what is going to happen? You might want to eat outside. So you're going to spend extra money living outside. So like Lizzie said, nobody would restrict you to go out or to do whatever you want to do. As a matter of fact, you might even feel restricted when you stay in the hostel because there are certain things you cannot do. I don't think there are some regulations. You can't have a knife, some sharp object in the hostel. There are certain things you can do when you're in the hostel. So if you go and stay in the hostel, I have a mentee currently. Some of you may have known him, but I won't mention his name. He ran into trouble after he stayed in the hostel. He ended up spending more money to pay for the hostel. So by the time he got to the second semester, to the second year, he did not have money to pay for his next semester because he has already exhausted a significant chunk of his budget. He had to take a loan. So what I encourage my mentees to do, there's something called shared apartments. They build schools in the US like a community. Students have shared apartments where you can cook and do your thing. You share an apartment, you have a room inside an apartment, you pay a token of $500 or something. So you can use $100 and shop your food for the week. You manage your thing, you put your pepper so that Oyibo or your roommate will not touch it. Only you will chop on a hand. You know how much you manage it. At least you know that when you eat food that has pepper, it will carry you till when you are ready to eat another one or something. And then you control a lot of stuff when you live by yourself in your confined budget that is given to you. So that my mentee learned in a hard way. I felt for him and others that I know. So it is wise you do not take accommodation in the hostel. That was 2 examples I gave. Learn how to drive. I mean, when you take admission funding, please don't stay in your hostel. Ask for shared apartment. That's why you need to connect with people on ground. They will show you things so you don't get yourself into unnecessary debt before you start the second semester or the next session. All right, guys, that's some free expo I gave to you guys. All right, so another question is this: how much are you setting aside for your journey? Let's say you're not coming on scholarship, you are coming on a visit. A lot of us want to come on a visit, but the goal is to come and relocate here. Sometimes you got an immigrant visa. So how much are you getting? See, even if you got immigrant visa and you're coming to the US, I can guarantee you the first 3-4 months, I mean the first three years, you might not have settled down yet. It takes time for you to settle in. So ask yourself, how much is in your hands? So if you are honest with yourself, you don't have up to $500. Talk to yourself that I'm going in there. It's going to be a long walk for me to sustain. Now, how long will that amount take you? Consider how many of you are in the family. Are you self? Are you husband and wife? Are you with children? How many children? How much do you need to sustain? So I have this family, I think husband and wife, then 3 children, and then the sister-in-law. So it was the brother-in-law that filed for them to come to the US. So as soon as they got to the US, their hosts who filed for them told them they can't stay in their house more than a week. So somebody who knew me, that I've also been a support system to her, was in a different state, called me and said, "Oh, Wilfred, my family member is in Connecticut, this and this and this, please can you help?" So I stepped in. I started helping. They were stranded. Their host sent them out of the house. So I had to call a couple of my friends to see how to support and see how we can do. It was considerably cold too. We had to start seeing how we can see. You can't rely on your host. And the good thing about the guy is he had some money in his hands. He needed a car, he needed a little car to get him, These ones, they had green card in their hands. They had green card in their hands, but they were suffering. So how much do you have to sustain when you're coming to America? When you're going to that country, how much do you have? What is the capacity? What is the amount in your family units? Are you by yourself? It plays a significant role. But if you win a scholarship, good job. These are many questions I want you guys to know. So what do you need when making these plans? Whether immigrants or non-immigrants? What medium are you traveling? Is it by road, by air, or something? Don't look at me like you don't know what I'm talking about. Some people decide to come through Mexico border. They will walk through the desert, fly to a certain place, continue walk. I'm not a fan of that anyway. On this platform, we only encourage legit. If you know you are legit, you are flying in with your visa, good, we're going to work with you. Make that decision. Understand the kind of visa you're coming with. I came with M1. Today, Dr. Tunde just let me understand about how J1. I didn't know that when you have a J1 visa, you come in here. After you finished your program or whatever you do here, you have to go back to your country for 2 years before you can be admitted to the US again. It's today. Dr. Tunde was the one that told me because he has significant experience in that line. Yes. So determine the visa, H1B, M1, B1, J1, J2, name it. You need to understand exactly what you're coming with. You need to explore all these and be sure what you need. Find out what it will cost you, the procedure that you need to go through. I have dealt with a couple of visas. Not all I've dealt with. So, like I said, when I meet a client, depending on the ask, I will shift the person to the person that has significant experience in that area. So for some of us that are not able to read and understand, you need somebody to guide you to what you need to do. Resources at your expected location. All right. Do you have a contact host whom you will learn or get your plans rolling? If you're coming to the US, I'm always encouraging everybody, please do have a host that will host you for 3 months. 3 months. When you first land, is what determines what your future will look like. Where you're going to land first is like coming to my house. Like I'm going to be your host. You come to my house, or you're going to Dr. Tunde's house. You can be sure you better put your head straight. You got to do book. Even if you're going to start something but small, but aim at transitioning to, a more significant. That was what Uncle Tunde did for me. When I met Uncle Tunde, he paid for my GRE. He's here. He doesn't like when I talk about it, but I mean, it is what it is. He was always bringing me food too, but significantly, he was telling me about the need for me to go to school and how to navigate it. He didn't just stop at that. He paid for my GRE that I sat to be able to secure admission. And he also gave me a letter of guarantor. He's a doctor, he's a professor, so he could stand in for me. So if you are meeting somebody who is lesser in knowledge, he's going to tell you what you know. But something I know that is very significantly common is the fact that if you do not have somebody to stay with, that's the beginning of problem. Because you are spending, for example, Naira in Nigeria, and you just suddenly transition here, and you are spending dollars. The volume of dollars you will spend when you're not making it while here, something to worry about. So what Zeke does, like all my clients that are coming this August or July, August, of course, we have those conversations every single time. What do you do next? What phone line are you going to use? How is your phone plan going to be? What phone plan would you use to be able to enhance your adaptability? Okay, as you are going to the school, you want to use the bus, or what location are you going to be staying? We talk about all this. These are things we talk about consistently. We have it as a group session. That's what Zeke does. They don't have anybody here except the few people they've contacted in their school to support. Sometimes I have to call the contact in school and check out, okay, my sister or my client is coming over. What are the options? Sometimes we have to go to Craigslist to search for the distance of the school and where they want to stay. Some of them have gone to learn how to drive. They're already planning, okay, when I come, I want to buy a car or rather drive from here to the school. It will save me time and, a lot of conversation. So if you do not have a host, and having a host is one thing, for the host to understand what he's going to tell you is another thing. And that leads me to the fact that a lot of people do not know most of these things I'm sharing with you guys, because it depends on how they came to America. I came to America as a pilot student with M1, and I worked my way up the ladder to where I am. So I learned by process. But if somebody came to America, like Dr. Tunde came here as an F1 student, he worked himself up to getting his green card. That's what has given him the significant knowledge about national interest waiver. But if your father brought you, or your mother brought you, or your husband or wife brought you, I'm sorry, you came with green card. You do not know what students are going through. If you talk about OPT, they'll be looking at you like, OPT, what is that one? But ask Uncle Tunde what is OPT, or J1 visa, or NIW, which you are already a student, you want to explore those. Awesome. I just got to know that you can actually stay outside of the US and apply for NIW. You hear that from Dr. Tunde. So it goes a significant way if you have somebody, a contact person, who is very knowledgeable, who understands the system, who understands how to explain things to you. And then as you are coming in, and the person harbor you for 3 months, I hope you understand that you will need a phone. How would you pay for that phone? Is the person going to pay for you? For example, now, I have some family friends who are here. If I add somebody to my phone bill, for example, I'll pay $20. Because I'm saying that doesn't mean you should call me when you get here. I won't add you. Mm-mm. And if you want to, and when I add you up, you have all the unlimited packages. But you find out that if you want to go by yourself, $20 might not give you all the unlimited services that you need. It's going to give you restricted services. So if your host is kind enough, he might choose to add you. He won't tell you because you won't know. But you see, me, I'm a different person. We keep it real. We keep it honest. We tell you, okay, we can add you, but you will give us the $20. So don't come and add bill on my head. Okay? You will need a mobile line, which will cost you money. And the bills in your host house will go up depending on the number of family. See, this is not Africa. From the day you get into the house of your host, the bills start going up. You see this light? You see the light I'm using here? If my host is living in my basement, for example, because he's going to live in the basement, the light will be on. When the light is on, that means my light bill is increasing. My water bill will go up because now more than 5 people in my home that I have now will be taking shower. So the bill will go up. So if the bill is going up, how do I compensate for that? That is why I like you to understand that Western world dwellers don't like to host people for so long because their bills go up. Don't pick on them because when you two come and stay and you settle, you will feel it. It will go into your skin. You know what it takes to make $1? You know what it takes to work for 1 hour? That's a lot of money. Your host, you are a guest. You are not saving money for them. You are helping them spend money. So why should they be happy that you're coming to stay? Think about it. Think about it. And if you are a student, please consider staying in a shared apartment, like I said, and not a hostel, as you will be disappointed should you head to the hostel. You can ask me why more in private, but I think I've explained that already to all of us. Okay, let's talk about first move upon arrival. This depends on what you migrated with. Either you migrated as a student, or as a visitor, or as, J1 visa, H1B. Some states like Connecticut, they allow you to get driving license as a visitor. Some states like Connecticut, Maryland is one of them too. Some states will allow you to get an ID when you come in, depending on your visa too. And some will allow you to get your driving license as well. So something to have an ID when you come in is very important. But if you're coming in as an immigrant, yes, there is already an arrangement for you to get your green card. And then potentially with your green card, you can get your driving license so that you can keep your green card home and then go about with your driving license. Your driving license is going to be your ID. It's quite very important for you to have that. So that's the first move. You want to get your documentation straight so that you can be a little bit very stable. As students, it's very important. If you come in as a graduate student, you need to get your ID because definitely those of you that got scholarship, you are entitled to file for because you're going to be working, so you need a social security. So you need to focus on getting your social security, getting your work permit together. I'll share an experience. So I have a client. Dr. Tunde knows it. We have a client, we have a client at Zid. He made some very huge mistakes. Huge mistake. And they think send him back to Nigeria. He finished his bachelor's, master's, and PhD in this country. He was supposed to do his OPT and all that. He missed a step. That is why you have to be proactive. Today, Zit is supporting him to get him back on his foot, to get him, his heart desire. And by God's grace, Dr. Tunde is the one in charge, taking care of business over there for him. So your moves, very important. If you need to get work permits, please don't slack. If you need to get your social security, please don't slack. Ask questions. Get to know that. The driving license, get it on point. All right. Before I will call Dr. Tunde to speak to us, I want to talk about your credentials. Credentials, very important. Please, in your country, if you know you want to come to America and you have career focus and career minded, send your transcript to Evaluation Center. WES is the popularly used one. If you stay here, I want to process it from here. The dollar you will spend will be far more than if you were there. And the protocol, it takes time. But when you are there, please send it to West before you leave. Very important. Very, very important. Possibly before you leave your home country, to avoid stories that touches the heart as a result of transcript delay, strike in school. Ensure you evaluate your transcript course by course. If you have plans to go back to college, yes, course by course. I think the course by course will also allow you will also have the certificate by certificate attached to it to allow you to better harness your opportunity. Very, very important. All right. At this point, I want to pause and I want to invite my partner, my fellow coach, Dr. Sunday Ogini, to take it up from here. He has some significant stuff to share. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, first of all, I want to thank Wilfred for giving me the opportunity to, be part of this occasion. I don't take it lightly. So, as we were talking earlier today, he told me that he would like me to be, part of this, event, and he told me in what capacity he would like me to be involved, and I agreed. So the first thing I want to say is that most of the things he talked about are things that I personally experienced, in this country. When you talk about, living in hostel or living, share apartment, when I left my home country to come and study here, those are the things that, I had to battle with. And, the fact that when I even came to this country, I couldn't drive, that was huge issue for me. At least, luckily for me, I know how to ride bicycle. So I was riding my bicycle all around because where I schooled, it's not like it's not like in like an urban area. It's like more like a suburban area. So what that implies is if you have to go by the bus, you have to be riding the bus, with maybe elderly people or homeless people, because those are people that don't have cars, in this part of the world. And you have to wait like for an hour before you wait for the bus. So if you miss the bus, you have to wait for another 1 hour. So I can't handle this as a student, so I had to get a bicycle and ride my bicycle everywhere. But if you're riding a bicycle and you're going to the store, how much stuff can you carry on your bicycle? I was like, wow, this is a very tough country, So those are the things, you have to deal with. And the other things that he mentioned that I think we all can kind of relate to is that most of the coaches on the ZID platform, they have, first-hand experience about the things that you are going to be experiencing. So they can actually guide you at different point in time that, okay, this is, a trap, don't go into this is not a trap, you need to avoid this and things like that. So that is very important. One of the things, that always occupy the minds of people when they leave their home country is, okay, even if after I've studied, how do I get a job? Or how do I kind of, settle back in this country? And I will tell you that, I had that issue too. People just, okay, maybe I just go and marry a white lady or I do this, maybe that makes it easy. Well, if not something that is out of your heart that you really want to do, then it makes your life complicated, because if you have issues with your marriage, then everything is, messed up in your life. So the good thing is there are provisions, that have been made, in many of these, countries, even if you talk Canada or US, those are the places I have personal experiences with. And if you go through the normal process, you won't have, too much difficulties. I mean, you have challenges, you have to work hard, but it's a challenge that you can take head on and, conquer it and move on, with your life. So if you study in the US, there is a provision called the National Interest Waiver. I don't know how many people, by show of hands, how many people have heard of that NIW, National Interest Waiver, before? Okay, not many people, nobody has heard about it? Never. Okay, so all right. So what that means, it's a provision that, okay, there is also what we call the OPT, which is optional practical training. So, which is a provision that has been made by the United States. If you study in the United States, there are, number of years you can still work in this country before you can be asked to go back to your country. It varies for courses, from courses to courses, but at least you have at least 1 year to work in this country before you can be asked to go back to your country. If you work if you study something like, in STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, you have more than like 2 or 3 years to stay back before you are asked to go back. But during that time, you can actually, regularize, your stay, which are the things that I experienced myself, because I did my PhD. After my PhD, I, enrolled in my OPT, and then I got like a postdoc where they offered me like a J1 visa. And when I knew the details about the J1 visa, I said, if you want to go back to Nigeria, I want to go back on my own terms. Not yet, But I said, okay, I can still stay on my OPT. And after my OPT, before the end of my OPT, I was able to get another position, and then I regularized my stay. So what I want to talk briefly about today is what is called the National Interest Waiver, which is applicable, or which is open to people that actually study in the United States. If you have studied in the United States, you can use that provision. And that national interest waiver, what it means is, if you can make a case for yourself, it's like going to a law court and you are making a presentation to the judge that this is my case, judge in my favor. That's simply what it is. So then, if you can make a case that what you have studied or what you intend to do in future is in the national interest of the United States, then you have a good case. Then the other thing, which is the waiver part, is saying that they need to waive what is called the labor certification. What is called the labor certification? There's also a provision in the United States that if for any company that want to give you a job, they have to check, is there any United States citizen or permanent resident that can do what you're asked to do. If we have anybody in that position, then you will not be able to get that job. What that means is, companies usually make like an advertisement that, okay, if you're an engineer, okay, we have this position, these are the skills we need. If any American can raise up their hand that I can do that job, then they won't give you that job. But if you go to the NIW, it's going to waive it. That's the waiver part. So you're working in the national interest, and they can waive the labor certification. And it has different, like criteria that, has to be fulfilled. One of the criteria is that you need to have like an advanced degree. And in the United States, what is meant by advanced degree is basically master's degree or PhD. You don't get more than that. Being a professor is conferred, but if you have, master's or PhD, you can argue that you have an advanced degree. Another thing is, if what you have done is in the national scope, or it's in the national interest of the United States, or something that you can argue can improve the U.S. Education, or improve the environment, or improve the U.S. economy, basically. Those things are very broad, and we have coaches here that can guide you on how to present your case and be able to make a compelling argument, and you'll be granted. Somebody may ask me, what's the success rate? For all the people that I know that have gone through it, that I know personally, it's been successful. It may take a little time, meaning that, okay, they can tell you, okay, we need to make more argument, which is what which happened to me personally. When I applied the first time, they told me, okay, your argument is not compelling enough. Can you make this other argument? Can you make this other argument? Can you make this other argument? And I sat down and I wrote, case by case, backing my case with evidences, and I was granted. And today I'm an American citizen by the grace of God, with my whole family. So it's something that is possible. You understand? So I would take one of the criteria as an example, and I'll tell you how I buttress my point. And if you want more information, you can talk to us, on Zid. So I'll use the case of improving the US education as an example. So the question is, for the time that I've studied in the US, how did I improve the US education? You might be wondering, I'm a student here. How can I be improving the US education? Yes, I did. And my argument as follows. When I was in graduate school, one of the things I, took part in was, going for different secondary school, high school, they call them here, to do like, competition. And I'll be like, part of myself and my other colleagues will be like judges, and judging American students, how they perform. That is a way to improve the US education. That not alone. When I was in graduate school, one of the ways that I funded myself was as a teaching assistant. So I was teaching, lab sections, for different professors, and they were paying me. I mean, you have to go along with your department, and they paid me. That was how I was able to get through. One of the ways I got through, school. And that I argued, by helping American students in the lab, I have actually improved the US education, which is not a lie, which is the truth. Another thing is, while in graduate school, you have the opportunity to work. If you're on F1, you can work on campus. And if you work on campus, there are other students that are not so talented, that maybe undergrad, that can help out, and they pay you anyway if you help them out. And you can argue that by teaching them, in helping them with assignment, tutoring them, you are helping the US, education. And that is, part of it. I see somebody, I can take questions afterwards. That's part of, helping the US, education. Don't go and teach a Mexican student to, I mean, I'm not saying you should not teach them, but don't use it as your argument. Focus on the US, education. And afterwards, when I finished my graduate school, I got a postdoctoral position. And because I was a postdoc in the lab in which I work, there were students that I helped, to set up the experiment or guide them, if they have issues in what they were teaching, in what they were learning in school. That is also a way of, helping the US, education. How did what was the evidence that I had to back up my claim? The evidence that I used was, when I was going for the science competition, I went to the professor who organized it, and I said, "Can you give me a letter to back up my claim that I helped the US in education by following you and helping you to be a judge in that science competition?" And the professor was willing to give me, and he wrote it down. This guy was really good. I back it up. I put it. That's part of it. When I was, doing my teaching assistantship, I went to the professor also. I said, could you give me a letter, please, so I can let the US government know that while I was in school, I was doing all this. I put it together. That's part of it. When I was doing my postdoc, the student that I helped out, the graduate student that I helped out, I went to them. Hey, guys, I need letters from you guys. And they wrote letters. All those were evidences to prove to the reviewer that indeed I fulfilled that portion that I helped the US, education. So what I'm saying, there are different criteria. It's not just one, but you have to be able to make compelling argument that I'm able to fulfill this, I'm able to fulfill this, I'm able, with proof and evidences that you have done that. So what I'm going to offer you, in this platform, one of the things we're going to do, help you out, which I believe, Wilfred has been able to point out, is that while you're in school, we guide you that, hey, take part in this kind of activities in school. Make sure you take part in this kind of activities. Don't just go to school from class to school, class to school, class to library, and that's it. You have to be part of the things that are going on in your environment, so that you take part in those of those things. Those things, they give you ears on the ground, so that you can know what is actually happening around, and you can be able to make the best of your experience and be able to put something good together when you are making your argument. And afterwards, they don't have a reason not to give you your green card. And like I said, we've had huge success rate. I've not even had anybody that has not been successful so far, as far as I know, because I'll help them. Write it this way, do it this way, do it this way. And once you follow the template, you'll be fine. And yeah, we don't have too many Nigerians. I mean, we have a lot of Nigerians. Up till now, we don't have to be waiting like those from India and China. You know, they have billions of people, you know, in those areas. So they have lots of people. They have what is called like a waiting period, you know, before they can, you know, even if they are approved, before they can be eligible to apply for their green card, they have to do some waiting. But we don't have that in the US. So I mean, that's the little I have to say today. I mean, if anybody has any question, you can let the moderator know, and I'm willing to answer questions. And you get and learn more. You know, when you come to the Zip platform to learn more about the things that we offer. But it's just a little. I'm just willing to say today. All right. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and I appreciate it.
All right. Dr. Tunde, imagine having this man on a one-on-one with you. You need to have it together to sit with Dr. Tunde. That's why I like him so much. If you sit with him, you can be sure he's very thorough. I wish I was like him. He's so thorough, so detailing. He wants to have all his I dotted. He has all his T's crossed. And that's why you see how confident he sounds? The success rate is so high. Now, somebody is asking me on LinkedIn right now, I should give him Professor Tunde's LinkedIn account. Listen, if you want to meet him, come to Zid. Come to Zid. If you can find him by yourself, you will do that. He did not permit me to do that. So if you want to find him, come on Zid and find him. But if he chooses to give it to you or you find him, I have to respect that. Just like he said, if you want to find him, come to Zid. He's all there. He's all yours to work with him. That's just one of the things he does. Like I said, there are other, when it comes to career world, he was one of the best things that happened to me 11 years ago when I met him. He pumped so many career sense into my head. So now it's a privilege that I can collaborate with him and be able to give this back to everyone. So once again, thank you, Dr. Tunde. It's always a pleasure to have you around. But I did see a couple of questions somebody was asking.
Thanks for the nice words. I appreciate it.
Someone asked, Babatunde or Nase said, what if I organize free tutorials?
Yeah, I think it does also helps, but make sure there are American students there. So that because the argument you want to make is you are doing it to help the American, education. You're not, you're doing something for free, but you want to make a compelling argument. I mean, if you go and ask, if you tell the reviewer that you helped Mexican students, how does that help you? Or you helped other Nigerians? You want to make a case that you have helped the education, the U.S. education. Please note, this is just one of the many criterias that I've explained to you. I mean, there are so many, I mean, there are situations where they say you have to belong to, some professional organizations, but that is not difficult because, if whatever field you have, there are some professional organizations you want to be part of, and there are ways in which you present that will help the reviewer to know that you're not just you're not just anyhow person in that organization. You understand? So those are some of the things that can be very tricky about this. So yeah. So there are so many criteria. It's not just I just use the education, the US education as an example. So there are other criteria, like I said, that you have to be. There are other ones like to have national to have national scope. And there are ways where you make the argument, and you have to make it compelling. So I won't say more than that.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Tunde. You have another question here from Chukudula or Chukudala. Sorry, guys, if I didn't call the name right. Please, is there any advantage a 5-year professional course gives in respect to national interest waiver? If not, must the person do his master's here in Nigeria before proceeding?
What do you mean 5 years professional? What do you mean by that?
Okay, so I think what I'm trying to get from that question is, can somebody do his or her master's in Nigeria before coming to the US to do a PhD, which might be just 3 years? before the person can be awarded the national interest waiver?
Okay. So first of all, every experience counts. Okay. So, like one of my junior colleagues, I believe last year, asked me to give him a letter of, reference. He was applying for NIW. He has never been to the US. He actually he did most of his studies in Nigeria, and he lectures in South Africa. And so you can actually apply for it while you are even outside of the country. You understand? So it's just something similar to what it's called, like I believe a skilled, like what you get if you go to Canada, like unskilled labor. So it's something like that. So the other thing is, the NIW is not awarded. You apply for it, and then you make a compelling argument. And it's just like you go to court. I don't know how many people know the story of like O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson is a black guy that played football many years ago, and many people suspected that he murdered, the wife. But when he went to court, he was exonerated because he had an excellent lawyer, Johnny Cochran. And after finding everything, Johnny Cochran said, "Okay, this is the gloves that you guys said you found in the murder scene. O.J. Simpson put it in your hand, and O.J. Simpson, he couldn't fit O.J. Simpson's hand." And Johnny Cochran said, "If it doesn't fit, you must acquit." That was a very, very, very popular, statement. And O.J. Simpson was exonerated, not because he was not guilty, but in the face of the judge, and even the jury, they didn't find him guilty. So what I'm saying is, in this case, what you are trying to do is to make a compelling case to the person that is reviewing it, the USCIS officer that is reviewing it, that it is in the best interest of for you to approve that I stay in the US. And if you have made a compelling case, you will be given your state, your state here in this country. So it now depends on you. I mean, if I show you the first time I applied, my case, I just my argument was here and there, but the person was that reviewed it was like, okay, let me help this guy. So he said, look at this, look at this, look at this, and make an excellent argument. I mean, basically, just make argument. And I was able to. Then what I did was, every Saturday I go to the library. For each of the cases, I look at it and I studied. I put things together. By the time I was done, I wrote over 30 pages of argument. And if I give my letter of cover letter, you'll be afraid. I don't like to intimidate people, but you'll be afraid that what happened? But by the time I even submitted it, I was confident that there's no, because each of the point I argued anyhow. I argue convincingly. That's what I mean. And that's what I advise people to do. You want to convince the person beyond reasonable doubt that it is the best interest of the United States to have you here rather than send you back to your country. I mean, if you go back to country, it's all good for Africa. You understand? But it depends on where you are in your career. Say, no, for now, I want to be here. So it's not conferred. You make an argument and you be granted. If you are granted, then you are eligible to apply for green card and you move on with your life. So that's how it works. I don't know if I answered all the questions that the person has.
Yes, you did. You did.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Tunde. Someone, Musan says, please, does the Social Security expire? No, Social Security don't expire, sir. What happened is when they assign that number to you, it's like it's stuck to you. You have only one number. But the thing is, the first one they gave me, I still have it. There is a condition on it. As a graduate student, the one they will give you has a condition on it, which does not allow you to use it to work outside of the school.
Yeah.
Dr. Tunde, right?
Yes, you're very correct. Yes.
Yeah. Good. So the number is still valid, but what you use it to do is what is not valid.
Correct.
Good. Whether you leave Nigeria or not, or whether you leave the US, sorry about that, whether you leave the US or not, the number is valid, But what you use it to do is what is not valid. So that's something to pay attention to. I hope that takes care of that. Let's see another one. Chukudalu says, for example, a physiotherapy course or a medicine and surgery. Yes, I mean, Dr. Tunde has explained that already. Regardless of the course you did, if you are able to apply and tender your convincing position why the reviewer should approve it, please go ahead. Physiotherapy, medicine and surgery, absolutely. You have an opportunity to prove your case. Oluwaseun will say, do I need a host as a graduate student with a fully funded scholarship? No, you don't need a host. You just need some guidance, which you have already. You have that in Zed. You are part of Zed family, so you have that already, Oluwaseun. You don't need that. You don't need a host. But it's important for you to build relationship and build a host for yourself around where you stay. At least I met Dr. Tunde. He became part of my host to teach me and guide me while I was here. So he was already here. So when I met him in the church, so he became like one of the resources. So I would say he hosted me in Connecticut technically. But if you're coming for the first time and you don't have scholarship that you're going to be having funds coming to you to survive, you need a physical host that you're going to stay with. That's what I mean. You need a physical host that you're going to stay with. So let's see what Yetunde Akinlaja said. I would like to ask, if the driver license and social security number are given to all F1 students on request. Okay, so like I said, if you are coming in as a graduate student, like Dr. Tunde explained, as a scholar that he was lecturing. So that lecturing he was doing, or he was in the lab, yes, he was taking care of some practical work in the lab. So he was technically working. So when you work, they will pay you every 2 weeks or every week at the end of the week. You will need to file taxes. So without social security, you can't file that taxes. So as an F1 student, you are assigned that social security with a work authorization. Dr. Tunde, right?
Yes, you are right.
Good. So they assign you a work authorization that also comes with a social security. You use the work authorization to get that social security. And that social security will have a condition underneath that you cannot use it to work outside the school premises.
I just add to it that It is not in all cases that you are offered a social security number or social security card. I mean, and that actually happened to my wife, because when she came here, she was also in Nigeria. When she came here, there was a point she was like, okay, she was going to start her first degree together. And actually, she had a degree from Nigeria. She said she wants to start from first degree, and she was not on no assistantship, nothing whatsoever, And they told her you cannot just you can't ask for a social security card because you are not an immigrant. So, and you're not working as an undergrad, you're not working on campus. So there's no reason for them to give her that social security card. And they told her they're not giving her, and which was not given to her at that time. You understand? So, but it's easier if you are coming for a graduate program, because most of the time you are coming for a graduate program, it's possible that you are doing research with a professor, or you are teaching, some undergrad, or you're teaching in the lab like I did, in those days. And it's easier because if you're going to be working on campus, then you need like a social security number, work authorization to work on campus, thereabout. And some people do abuse it, they work outside of the campus, which is, you don't want to be doing something.
You get them into trouble. That's felony. Just know that's felony. You're not supposed to do that. All right, thank you. Let's move on, please. Thank you, Dr. Tunde. Someone is asking Vitaliso, what steps do you think HND holder? Please, if you're an HND holder, I've told you guys I have HND and I did masters in this country, in the same country. It was Dr. Tunde said I opened my eyes to see. So meet us at Zed. If you can't take our one-on-one coaching, We have a video. That video was a workshop that was paid for. It was $12, 5,500 naira. And you also entitled to have a one-on-one with me for 45 minutes, which I have to walk you through some things. I'll give you that benefit of doubt. Like I said, we do sacrifices here. Reach out to us at zitworldwide.com. Register, sign up on our website, and then we will reach out to you. We will send you that video. You send off $12, which is 5,500, and then when you're done watching it, schedule a one-on-one with me, and I'll also walk you through some basic things that you need to understand. Yes, HND. I had HND. I didn't do prerequisites, and I did not do any PGD, and I went straight to my master's. So just that's by the side. Please, if you are a first degree holder, can you get a chance to get a visa? Even if you don't have a degree, you can get a visa, but it depends on what visa you're looking out for. I have business men and women who don't have a degree, and they are doing business in and out. They got business visa to come to the US. So it's not for a specific. There were people that had lottery. They won lottery. They never went to college. They just did handy stuff, and they're in the US. So there's no restriction, please. Musa said, thank you for the insights. Please, for SSN, for social security number, since you are already attached to an SSN with restriction, so what happens if you are now allowed to work without restriction? Do you have another SSN? Okay, good. All right. So let me use myself to explain. So when I first got my first social security, there was a condition to it. That was with a work authorization. So when I got a green card, I think I got a notice, or I think I went somewhere for one documentation, either in driving to renew my driving license or something. So they asked me to go and change the social security. So when I went back to the social security office, the number was not changed, but there was something they changed in their back end. So they gave me another social security. So that condition that was underneath that one, I wish I can show you guys. It is right here. So at the end of the day, I can't show you guys because it is personal. I ended up having 2 social security. That was what made me have 2 admin in my disposal.
2 social security cards.
Cards, sorry. Cards. 2 social security cards. Good.
Yeah, the same number.
So that was what led me to having 2 of those. But it doesn't mean they are different. They are not different. They are the same. You can see them. So one is having, he said, valid for work only with Department of DHA's authorization. This one has that restriction. This one does not have it. But the numbers on them are the same. Take note. So now when I become a citizen, I will go back to them. They will do an update on this one that does not have that restriction again. So that's how it works. Because at the end of the day, there are places you go. They will notice that your social security is having some, back end restriction. But when you become a citizen, those restrictions are taken off. So you just have to go and do updates with them. So thank you, and Dr. Tunde. You see what I said? When you stay with Uncle Tunde, he will help put your head straight. Thank you, doctor. If you are not allowed to work without restriction, do you apply for another social security? No, you only need one. When that number is attached to your name, anywhere you go in this country, whenever they put it in, it will pop up on your name. That is why you don't want to give it to anybody. It's a personal document. It's a personal information. Take notes. All right.
I think somebody's asking a question, please.
Please go ahead.
It says, I'm a maintenance technician and associate degree holder. What would be best for me in this regard? I've been trying to apply to school abroad and also trying to get an employer for sponsorship and apply for different companies. And some will assign an interview with me, like Walmart, before knowing I'm not in that location. Well, what job is located? Okay, what are the things I need to do?
Okay, Dr. Tunde.
Okay.
Let me just go ahead. All right. So I have a lot of people with this kind of ask and questions asking, and what I always say is this: we can't give you all the answers because, for example, now you say you're a maintenance technician. I'll need to know more about what you do, and that's why we created Zid. Come sit down with us. Let's talk. Let's brainstorm. Let's see what are your options before we advise you. If you give us this kind of open question, we are restricted because the information you are giving us is quite very limited. For those of us that are like Zit clients or mentees, you can share it here and tell them. It takes time. It takes a process. One of our clients in South Africa that one postdoc, yesterday he told me when he texted me that he got his visa. He said, Wilfred, the first time you spoke to me 2 years ago, I spoke to him and his wife. He said, after the session, I just looked at you, he said, what is this man talking about? See, he said the thing didn't make sense to him. He kind of just shoved me off. So later on, like almost 6-7 months, we had another session. We had another one. He said, as at that time, the thing began to make sense to him. But as I'm talking to you now, he got fully funded scholarship to Harvard. His visa and his whole family is all together, and they're coming to the US. So sometimes when you're asking these questions, when we start to explore them, they might not make sense. They might not make sense. Until you begin to follow our lead, our guidance, then you begin to see where you're going to. So sign up with Zid and let's explore your options. And if it's something you want to go through, definitely. Dr. Tunde is here. Dr. Johnson, I know, Blessing. A lot of, even we have some of our coaches that are in Europe. They can also guide you as well. Thank you very much. Bethel, please, friend, how do I secure a full funded scholarship to an American university? I would like to do my master's in marketing, specializing in product management and sales. Please, how do I go about it? I heard you said some of your clients are coming in August. I want to be part of that story. Sign up on, please, if you guys need most of these services, sign up on coachingzworldwide.com. When you sign up, we will call you and we'll explore all your options and then we'll better guide you. Where is everybody? Okay. So please check your message box. Sign up there. You have different coaches that can guide you to attaining your goals. We can start discussing that now. That's very possible. Please, Habib says, please, I would like to ask if there is any limit to F1 visa working in summer. Dr. Tunde, you use F1. I had used M1. Talk about this. Please, I would like to ask if there is any limit to F1 student working in summer.
The only limit that I know is it's usually restricted to working on campus. So for somebody on scholarship, like me, what my school did was to actually give me, like if I have a professor that has a research grant, to give me a research opportunity, over the summer. And actually they pay us more in summer because they don't expect professors to work. So the professors pay themselves more in summer. So they pay us a little more in summer. But interestingly, there was a summer that I had some issues with my professor. So I couldn't do anything from my professor. So it was as if I was not going to get anything for that summer. But one of the departmental secretary told me that I should not worry. So she just told me to do it was just like manual stuff. So anytime she needs to move anything from one place to the other, she just call me, move this thing to that place, and I'll move it. So she was able to pay me. I was able to get. She just facilitated it, but the department paid me for summer, though not as much as I would have been able to obtain if I'd worked for on research for a professor. So the short answer is there is no limit to you working in the school environment. As far as I know, you can also ask. We have the international, all schools we have international student union or international office. So international office is where all the international students are supposed to go. If you have questions, you just go there. They'll guide you. You understand? So if there's something peculiar or unique to your school, they will let you know. So
okay, so thank you, doctor. That's one way. Then the other way is this: you might be seeking for internship outside. So when you have one, the school will give you a letter that will facilitate, and that internship is always credit based. So I have two of my mentees. The last summer, they had to do their internship in a company. So, and that internship, when you get that internship, the school will give you a letter which allows you to go and do it. But you have to report to your supervisor because it's credit based. But they were paid. Oh, they made some good money. they made some good money. So the schools varies. So you have to work with your school environment.
It's under I've forgotten what they call it. It's not. I think it's LPT, something like that. They call it. It's not
something like that. Yes.
It's something. Yeah, but internship is what you do while you are still in school.
While you're still in school.
The USIS has to be aware of it. You don't want to do something that will put you in serious issues. So make sure that you go to the proper channel, contact your international office, because international office can guide you on what you have to do, so that you don't do something, then you now get into trouble and somebody will tell you, go back to your country or whatever. So always be in contact with your international office, so that if you're in doubt, go to them. They will give you guidance.
Yeah. And then your course advisor too will definitely guide you. Again, like if you are with Zid, we have several contacts, people that are already in the field, that are still in the field. We connect you to them to better get your answers answered. So someone is asking, please, what are the chances of switching career from law degree to master? Oh, that's easy. Masters in finance. That's easy. If you did law, definitely. There are different aspects of I know of a lawyer studying cybersecurity because that's his area of specialty in masters. So it's very, very possible. And if you want the funding, of course, it's the same. Because the thing is, the reason why I'm always encouraging people to stay in their lane of study is because when you want to seek for funding and also go to the embassy, the things will align. But as a law student, yes, you might be focused on finance law or any of those corporate laws that you want to do. Yes, it's possible. So, but we just have to sit down and begin to explore your options. So many options that you can explore. We'll come through Zit Worldwide. We can actually sit down to talk about it. Terms and conditions apply. Thank you.
One more comment, please. So it's not LPG, it's actually CPT. I just picked it up now. So there are two types of practical training you can do as a student. You have the optional practical training, which you do after you've completed your study in whatever course you are studying. And then there is also the curriculum practical training. That is CPT. That is the internship. That's what you can do when you are still in school.
Okay. And that is credit-based, right? It's credit-based. You report to your professor.
That credit-based depends on the department. You understand?
Department, right?
But that is the possibility of doing curriculum practical training is always possible, because if you want to do like an internship, people, it's always optional. Just like the OPT, you can decide not to do it and go back to your country, or you do it. Same thing with the CPT. You understand? So
all right.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there'll be some schools where it is maybe mandatory, for you to do it. But typically, it's not usually mandatory. If you want to do, if you have a company that can get you something outside of the school during summer, you can, always, contact the company, talk with your international office, and they can be able to help you out how to navigate that successfully.
Okay, so thank you so much, Dr. Tunde. So I have this mentee in grad school. I think he's graduating this month. So he had to do an internship during summer. So, but it was a credit base, because at the end of that internship, for that period of 3-4 months, he had to defend. So he invited me for the defense, like every other student. So that was how I got to know that he did the internship, off campus, but it was credit-based, which he had to report back to the school and the supervisor. And there was a defense on it. So the only thing is he was being paid by the company. I think he was on with Walmart. He's a data analyst. Quite a good experience. So, but I think he has to follow through some standard, because that money they will pay you is taxed. They will report to IRS, and USCIS will be aware of it. So you have to follow through the standard. That's why Dr. Tunde is emphasizing, go through your international students office, work with your departments to make sure you go through. Yes, internship is very possible during summer, but you have to go through your department to get that done. Thank you very much. Let's keep going. Please, I have interest to move to America, but I don't know anyone in America. How do you do? Meet Zed. Come to Zed. We'll talk about it. We'll explore it with you. We'll give you lots of options. Just sign up on Zed. That's what Zed is here for. We'll guide you through. God bless you, people. Okay, Zed is here. Okay, Kure said, I would like to ask, what preliminary exam must you have taken before being considered for admission for a law program? I mean, besides IELTS. Well, the law program, is it graduate law program or is it bachelor's? So I don't know what that is. But if it's bachelor's, you know what it is. See, if you are looking for bachelor scholarship in America, you need at least 9 A's. Dr. Tunde, Abby, 9 A's, and your SAT must be closer to God.
I don't know. It's much easier to get, graduate student. The reason is because you can also be used to help the undergrads. Like if you teach them as a TA, or
researcher,
in the lab or something like that. There's also the possibility whereby they will be giving them homework. I forgot what they call it in those days. So you help them with you guide them. They don't ask to solve it for them. You just kind of guide them in helping them to solve to solve for their homework. But I think there's somebody that was asking about the J1 visa. I will say that for that person, you need to look at the conditions for your J1 visa before, if the condition for you coming to the US is to spend 3 months and then go back to Nigeria, please do that. This is my opinion. There's no point, staying around and being an illegal immigrant, and anything you see policeman, you are ducking your head, you're afraid, you don't have anybody to see. You know what I mean? So you need to be able to walk with your shoulders high, not afraid, something like that. So, yeah. So what I would say is explore, try to know the details of your J1 visa, because from my own experience, I did not use it because I knew they wanted me to go back to Nigeria for 2 years before once I'm done with my program. I had other opportunities then. Other options I could explore anyway. So because I had residency in Canada, I could have gone to Canada for 2 years. So before coming back, if I didn't want to go to Nigeria. So look at your options clearly and look at the restrictions before you come. You can. It's up to you. So just look at your options, please.
If anyone, I hope you've gotten that answer very correctly. That's a professional in the field talking. Thank you so much, Doctor. Upong, thank you too. Thank you for thanking us. OPT, Babatunde Nasha. Is it optional practical training? OPT. Thank you, Wilfred. Thank you, Doc. All right. So, if you have more questions,
yeah,
good. So, if you have more questions and if you want to say something, feel free to say something about this. You can raise your hand up and then we'll have you speak if you so want to contribute. But other than that, I want to thank everybody out there. Today was phenomenal. Almost 60 people, 60 attendees today. Quite amazing. Quite amazing. Yes, we will try as much as we can to be bringing this up. Unfortunately, Common Sense with Freddie is just once in a month. Thank you, Babatunde. We will try to bring it up more often than not to be able to educate a lot of people. But I encourage you, come to Zed. Imagine if you have a one-on-one session with Dr. T. Trust me, you have the whole answers that will be so full in your head in terms of this space of career, you'll be awesomely, you will feel rewarded that you spend time with Dr. T, or for any amount that you paid to have his time.